People ask me a lot, what are a few of like my go-to large chopping blades? Because I love big knives. And I gotta say, when it comes down to it, there's really only two out there, and one of them is the Becker BK9. Well, recently, Becker took it to the next level and released the Becker BK39, and that's what we have here today. Folks, this is not your normal Becker. Let me show you what we're looking at here today. Sick. Look at that, dude. Oh my gosh. Love it. Now, this particular model did not come to me looking like this. This has been a process of love to basically give me the ultimate Becker BK39, or in this case, you know, like a Becker BK9 design here. Totally tricked out, totally customized, and basically have built, in my mind, the ultimate BK9 design. So today we're going to look at this newer version, the 3.9. The 3 just means that there's a couple features that they've changed just slightly, ever so slightly. So I'll show you how this arrived at the house, and then all the love that we put into this, all the different, you know, design features that we've tweaked, just the overall performance of this knife, and why this is basically one of the top 2 favorite large fixed blades that I have ever owned. So with that being said, guys, let's go ahead, jump into this awesome video. I hope you really enjoy it, because I've had so much fun making this video. So when you originally purchased the knife, this is what you're going to be getting. They've changed the sheath to just be a different color, the brown and the black. Everything is exactly the same. You know, it's a decent nylon sheath. It'll get you by till you can get either leather or Kydex, and as we're about to see throughout this video, I went with Kydex. And then you have this insanely hilarious and silly, and I really wish they hadn't have done this, because I think it makes people maybe not want to originally purchase the knife, this zombie green handles. I think if they had gone with like a cool tan Gryvery handles, that would have been, you know, great and kind of matched with the sheath and matched with the coating and everything that we're going to be looking at here today. So this is what you're going to be looking at. Obviously, I got rid of these immediately because they're so ridiculous, and got the Micarta that we'll talk about a little bit later. Now, a lot of folks are really interested about the clear coat and, you know, how does it perform? What's really the big deal about it? And that's really the part that I gravitate to with this BK39 over just the BK9. Well, one of the things that I've never really cared for with Ka-Bar's Becker line is the spray-on coating they use. A lot of people strip it off. I've done that with my BK16. It's okay, it's just a big hassle, and there's still that level of treatment that you're gonna have to constantly do with you know, maintaining a good patina on it that wears off over time. You got to re-put it on. There's nothing wrong with that, and for a lot of people that's a lot of fun, and I enjoy doing it on a level as well. But for my BK9, I really wanted something that was a little bit different, and that's what this offers, that clear coat. So it protects against the rust, but it gives it kind of like a rust color, as you can see there, which I really dig a lot. And you see the scuffing, but that's not on the clear coat. That's just the wood material. It's not wearing off the clear coat. The clear coat is still really durable and still hanging on really nicely. I'm sure one of the things that you're noticing, though, is that there is a laser engraving underneath the clear coat of the Becker logo along with the Ka-Bar logo, and it says USA. Some people, when I originally posted some photos, were like, oh man, that's ugly, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't bother me at all. I kind of dig it. And again, I will take that for the color of that kind of gray rust color that they're offering, almost like a tan, with that clear coat, and the option again of the clear coat over the really kind of gunky and just not fun to work with black coating on the original version. But the best part about this knife is how it performs. Woo-wee.
Just keep it in here. Oh, yeah. Here you go.
Boom. Now we're talking. And that's why I love this blade. I can do fine work with this giant 9-inch blade. Now, how about that handle? Now, we've dumped the really ridiculous zombie green Zytel handle scales, but let's go ahead and talk about these Micarta handle scales. Now, regardless if it's the original BK9 or the BK39, both, regardless of the colors, that Gryvery or Zytel, you know, molded plastic handle scales, they're very ergonomic, but they're very slick, and they just don't feel warm to the touch, don't give you that kind of extra level of traction. It feels like you're holding on to a plastic water bottle. These handle scales I picked up over at LMF Knives. They make a lot of different custom handle scales for a lot of different blades. So I will have links in the description below. I picked these up on eBay for, I think, like $42 is usually what they go for. They do have a Facebook page you can order through as well. And if I can find a home page, I'll link that in as well. But LMF Knives, they definitely know what they're doing when it comes to the custom Micarta, and at a very reasonable price. Man, does this just complete the system with this knife. Man, I gotta tell you, those are awesome in combination with that rust colored clear coat that I just keep on harping on, that just gravitates me towards this. This is like one of the best looking Beckers I've ever seen. And with that gray and brown and kind of a tan color combination on those Micarta handle scales, gives it great traction, a lot more comfortability because they've contoured them just slightly in the middle there, and just really makes it feel like the knife that it's supposed to be. You can see with my large size hands how well this just fits in my hand. Love it. Huge Becker hook, which is classic of the Becker line and keeps the knife in your hand when you're doing the heavy chopping. The pommel, so you can do, you know, like tent pegs, hammer in tent pegs, that type of thing. And even I can wrap my thumb right around that handle scale, get up close, and I can do those finer tasks for such a large knife. Makes it fantastic. And with these handle scales, bam, awesome. So we'll discuss this aftermarket sheath here real briefly. I'm just so stoked on this sheath. I've had it now for several months. It is fantastic. This sheath is designed by Red Feather Gear. I'll have a link in the description below. They do an awesome job over there. Fantastic taco designed sheaths. And this is an awesome pattern, matches so well. Got the laser engraving of the Gideon's Tactical logo. You could have your own logos laser engraved as well, and it's pretty reasonable. I think it's about $15 more to have that done, if I remember off the top of my head. But that's awesome. I love this rattlesnake pattern, goes so well with the clear coat and the brown handles. We got this attachment right here with an awesome Blade Tech lock belt attachment. This is a quick attach, and it's going to be flush with my belt, which is really nice. This is one of the very few 9-inch knives that I'll actually just attach to my belt and walk around all day with it, because it's so comfortable and so well designed. This is just an amazingly well designed sheath. Great thumb ramp right there. I can get my finger right in there on the guard, pull it out, and bam, I'm ready to go. I don't have to do any sort of reset. Then when I lock it back into place, you can just see there, bam, super snug. No rattle, the only rattle is the joints there. But I mean, dang, Red Feather Gear knows where it's at with sheaths. They would be the ones I would recommend if you are wanting a Kydex sheath done for your BK9 in this setup with a taco setup and all the attachments that you're seeing here. I think this whole setup with the laser engraving and all those type of things, I think is pretty reasonable at, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head what I paid for it. I think it was like $130, $140. And then if you don't want to go with all the crazy colors and combinations and laser engraving, you can get it a very basic model for about $70. So very, very reasonable for the Kydex sheath system. And I am in love with how this thing operates and functions. So now the price for this whole system is not necessarily like a good value. I purposely built this over a period of time as one of my go-to large choppers because I had the BK9. It was just such a good knife for me that when this clear coat version came out, I was like, I've got to build this ultimate system, not really caring about price points. So keep that in mind because I went way overboard with the sheath and all the coolness and color patterns and the laser, engraving. But I did that because I've used the BK9 for so long, and it's basically one of the two of my main big choppers. It's either the SE Hungulus or the BK9 that I rotate through, and those two I could never give up. I mean, they're just so awesome. So the BK39 on Amazon, before you do any of the tricking out and stuff, and we'll have links in the description below over to Amazon as well. That's always a great way to help support the channels when you use those links. It's about $105. You can sometimes find it for a little under $195 to $105. And then again, remember the handle scales are about 45 bucks ballpark, and then the version that we have here is like 130 for the sheath, but you can get a very basic version for like 70. So if you wanted to go very similar to a system like this, you're looking at about probably 225 would be a good estimate. Then if you want to go crazy with the sheath, you could be getting up to about 250. So as we come close to drawing this video to a close, I want to just touch on, now that you've seen the performance, now that you've seen all the upgrades and what this now, the BK39, why did I do that? Why did I invest a ton of money in this knife? Why did I sell my original BK9 to upgrade to this level, and invest all this money into this blade? And it really comes down to the whole package. When Ethan Becker designed this BK9, I think he had something going. From the handle design, which stays in your hand for an extended period of time with chopping and very ergonomic and rounded. So that's great for that aspect of the harder, heavier task, but it's also easy enough for me to get up and do the finer tasks. The 9-inch blade, the 17 ounces is enough weight to get heavy chopping done, but it's not overly heavy and not overly girthy in that sense, and then the 3/16 of an inch thick is still able to do all the batoning tasks and harder use tasks, and I can really crank on this thing and be hard on it if I need to, but it's still compact enough, it's not 10 inches or 11 inches like some of these big knives out there, so it's 9 inches, so it gives me enough to span wood and chop wood, but then I can handle it with the smaller, finer tasks. I can do notches and I can do feather stick making much better than most of my large choppers. Most of the knives in this size range, they're good for batoning and chopping. That's it. You're not going to carve, you're not going to feather stick with it. Yes, a smaller knife will do it better, but for the BK9, that's one of the things. I can get the batoning and chopping tasks, the heavier tasks done with this blade, no problem, but then I can zoom in and I don't have to swap to another knife. I can still get finer stuff done to get a fire going or make a notch for a trigger or a trap, and I can do all that in one solid package. And that's why, for me, folks, if you're considering a BK9 or 39, it is so worth it. You will not be sorry, in my opinion. I have loved this design for several years, and now upgrading to this 39 over the BK9 has been so worth it to me. Well, folks, there you have it. I love this knife, and it is so much fun to use this blade now with the clear coat. Awesome. I really wish that they would just get rid of those lime green handle scales. That thing's a joke. But with these aftermarket handle scales, it's rocking. And then with my red feather gear sheath, man, is this just awesome to carry. And it is actually, it's been going out a little bit more than my SE Hungulus just because it's a little bit more compact and the sheath is a little bit better to quick attach to my belt and carry around a campsite. So guys, I love this thing. If you're thinking about doing a BK9 and you are planning on investing some extra money into it with handle scales and sheaths and those type of things, my opinion, go with the Becker 39, Becker BK39. You will not be sorry and you will not regret it. So I hope that this video ultimately has just pointed you in the right direction, shown you an awesome large blade to fit into your systems. It's a great large knife blade to have in a chopping system. So as always, please check us out on all the relevant social media. Please subscribe, comment, like, share this video, and always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.